empty construction sites without the sound of jackhammers. Fewer sets of hands using these cleaning equipment at public spaces. An unsettling quiet had fallen over Singapore during the circuit breaker lockdown, when fewer people could return to work, especially our essential workers. The COVID-19 cluster infections among the dormitories had led to a slowdown on essential services. To keep Singapore running, sustaining our essential services was a priority. In doing this, the Singapore Armed Forces Joint Task Force Assurance worked with other ministries to facilitate the process of returning migrant workers to their jobs.
There was a new strategy adopted at the national level where they started to find a path to flow all these workers who were positive, to give them a place to recover and subsequently to flow them back to their dorms. So at the national level, they came up with the concept of the community care facilities and the community recovery facilities, the CRFs. So the mission given to my task force adjusted slightly after that. The remaining camps that we were preparing were going to be set up as CRFs, where we will take in workers who are on the road to recovery. They would have spent at least 14 days in the CCF, and they come to us for the last stage of recuperation before we flow them back to their dorms.
As more migrant workers recovered from the virus, so did the demand for more CRFs to accommodate them.
So in that short space of 2 to 3 weeks, we stood up the rest of our camps, and they function as CRFs. Whether is it Seletar East, Guillemard, Tanjong Gao, Lim Chu Kang, these were the camps that we stood up, and I think by the end of May, all these camps were running close to full capacity.
My job was actually to design the facilities, and after designing the facilities, we had to monitor the construction progress. First, we had to measure out the area to see how many people can put it in, and subsequently drew out a floor plan ourselves. From there, we built tentages, and then containers for toilets, and generators for power.
Everything have to react swiftly in the face of changing requisites. And because there was a need to quickly set up the facility in a very short period of time, that's why there was a necessary to work round the clock to facilitate the CRF setup.
Our department does the operations and systems management, including additions and alteration works like renovation, refurbishment to the facilities in the military camp. The main challenge is actually the manpower crunch. We source from different contractors who have workers available, as well as procuring of materials. It was a tough challenge as most of the shops are closed and we have to source using different suppliers, and I'm thankful that our building contractor back then is very supportive of this movement.
On the high side, I really thought that what SCF trained us really something very real at that moment. Regardless what kind of operation, within 24 hours, things will be out and we'll just deliver.
For migrant workers that were tested COVID negative, decanting operations took place to move them out of the CCFs and into decant sites.
On the average, we are looking at on the high, it was about 1,000 movement a day. The majority of the time is actually based on movement in the wee hours in terms of size of bus and the number of buses that we have to split across from various dormitories to the various decant sites. We also do a matching of migrant workers that we picked up, whether their profile matches and the health condition of the COVID negative confirmation from the MOH is verified before we carry out the movement. The second key challenge is to ensure the allocation sites availability, to make sure that we have a plan to move the decant operations in the subsequent days.
So I mainly work with a lot of contractors who had a lot of these migrant workers. So it's quite interesting when they used to be working in my airbase, and then when I went back to work, I actually found out that a few of the migrant workers that were in my base working, they were actually from Kranji Lodge dormitory itself. So I was very happy to actually serve them for a difference because they had been working tirelessly in that base for all this while. I heard a few stories from a brother who is also deployed at one of the community care facilities for the migrant workers. Hearing his stories and his experiences really inspired me to also volunteer and to help out in the fight against COVID.
It was good to have a brother who was also working on this situation at the same time. So I had someone to go back home to and then talk to and see a bit different perspective.
My team and I oversee the decanting ops and the well-being of the migrant workers.
We do also oversee the maintenance and service support for the temporary dormitories. This included ensuring essential services are available at all times, such as the security guards and the cleaners.
நல்லா ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் கூட பேசிகிட்டு இருக்கலாம், நல்லா சிம் கார்டு ப்ரொவைட் பண்ணுறாங்க, ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸுக்கிட்ட பேசலாம், வீட்டுக்கு பேசலாம், சொந்தக்காரங்கள்ட்ட பேசிட்டு நல்ல மன நிம்மதியாக இருக்கலாம், ஃப்ரீடமாக இருக்குது.
The situation in dorms can be quite dynamic from time to time. As we got to learn more about the virus, the SOP and the policies need to be reviewed and updated. We work closely with the FAST and the decanting ops in JTF. They have been very supportive with MOE dorm ops.
சிங்கப்பூர் கவர்மெண்ட் என்ன நல்லபடியாக பார்த்துக்குது, எல்லாமே ஓகே, ரெகுலர் டாக்டர்லேருந்து எனக்கு என்ன தேவையோ எல்லாமே அரேஞ்ச் பண்ணி கொடுத்துருக்கு।
সব কিছু মিলে আমরা অনেকটাই মানে আনন্দিত বা আমি খুব খুশি এখানে থেকে।
I think at the personal level, what drives me is to want to support every MW in time of this national crisis.
I find the overall experience enriching and fulfilling because it's a way for me to contribute to the nation's battle against the pandemic.
To me, it's an honor to be given this opportunity and to contribute for the nation, and I see this as part of my calling, and it's my duty and my responsibility to give for the better of the nation.